This workout is from week 3 of phase 2. It's going to be a lower body workout. Every workout is going to be performed with a warm-up and then proceeding into the actual exercise session. Our first warm-up exercise was individual knee hugs. The muscles involved will be the hips, the glutes, and the hamstrings, just trying to get those loose. It's going to focus on mobility and flexibility. So basically she would stand tall with her legs straight as she did, arms at her side, and then individually kick one knee up, bringing it as high as comfortable, starting relatively low, but trying to work our way higher and higher. That way we get better stretches. In the next 2 videos, you can see my client performing the walking abduction with the resistance band around her legs. You can see that she is taking shorter steps. The shorter steps are going to keep the muscles under tension for a long period of time, which is going to increase their endurance. You can see that she goes back and forth, which is what the exercise session suggested. The next part of our exercise session consisted of 3 supersets. The first superset being medicine ball pivot squats with an 8-pound medicine ball and 10 wall balls with the same medicine ball. And in this first photo, you can see my client. She's not all the way in the stance. You can see that she's a little bit elevated. She needs to be a little more parallel. But her legs are going to be shoulder width. The medicine ball is going to be in the front rack position, and she's going to pivot. The next 4 photos are going to be my client performing the medicine ball wall balls with an 8-pound ball. Typically, a client would start this exercise in the standing position, the ball being in the front rack position right under the chin. To go into the exercise, we would go into a squat. You can see here that my client is a little bit on her toes. She needs to sit back a little bit more into the squat, but otherwise We try to get a 90-degree angle on the squat. To go into the throw, you just stand up, flex your quadriceps, and throw the ball. Not as high as you can, but just to get a good throw. The third picture is going to be her catching it and coming back into the squat position, and you can see here that her squat looks a little bit better. However, she is a little hunched over. She needs to keep her chest up and straight. And then the last picture is, again, her going into the actual throw. The next superset we had was a glute bridge with 2-second hold at the top, superset with a 15-pound kettlebell swing. So in this first photo, we are in the contraction of a glute bridge. The following video is my client performing the glute bridge. The session was meant to have a 2-second hold at the top, so she's not quite holding it for 2 seconds. However, she was getting a good contraction at the top, driving through her heels and making sure to keep them on the ground. The following 2 videos are my client performing kettlebell swings. You can see in the first video that she's in a slightly squatted position with the kettlebell in between her legs. The second picture is her bringing the kettlebell up about eye level. So in the video of my client performing the kettlebell swings, you can see that she goes into the squat position, not quite 90 degrees, but it's going to activate her quads, her hamstrings, and also her glutes. When she comes out of the squat position, she's going to bring the kettlebell about eye level. The last superset that we performed was 20-inch box step-ups, starting with the non-dominant leg, and then paired with 15-pound kettlebell goblet squats. So you can see in the first 2 photos the starting position of the box step-ups. So she started with her non-dominant leg being the left leg. And then the second photo, you can see an intra position where she's not quite standing up, but she is in the middle of the step up. So in the following 2 videos, you're going to see my client performing the 20-inch box step ups with both legs. So she started with her non-dominant left leg. You can see that she is driving through her heel that is on the box, pushing off a little bit with the foot on the floor, but ultimately keeping the tension on the leg currently on the box. The last exercise we performed was the kettlebell goblet squats. You can see that my client starts with the kettlebell held in front of her instead of in the front rack position. Really depends on the client and what they prefer and what they feel comfortable with. But you can see mine starts with her kettlebell almost at knee level. The second photo is her in the squat. You can see even from a front view that her knees are a little bit over her toes. So she would need to sit back into the squat. However, it's still going to activate the quadriceps and the glutes. In this last video, you can see my client performing the kettlebell goblet squat. You can see that she's still holding it in the lowest position. Going into a good squat seems to be 90 degrees, which is what we're looking for. Looking for activation in the glutes, in the legs, and making sure that those knees don't cave in.